This video is made possible by Gabbery. Make sure you check out Gabbery.net. Link will be in the description. You can check them out for all different links of spoilers, silver calculator, content creators, and sets for all types of images and information. And link will be in the description. Welcome back to the everyone. So we're going to go over really quickly today the spoilers from the anniversary stream that was announced today at this time of recording of the release notes or design notes. We're not going to go over through every single card. We're going to break down maybe a couple of them, cards that I might think work well, be really good, also cards to pair with. So we're going to try and go through these as quick as possible here. I'm trying to make this too long a video. I don't want to break it up too much because literally tomorrow starts spoiler season, so I don't want to be playing on back foot the entire time. So we'll get right into it. Tristan Shadow Reaver, the CUR of the set, probably one of the best cards I've seen design-wise. As an on-enter, you can banish 4 cards from top of your opponent's deck face down, as long as it banished from a ignore the card's element requirement. So you can get a Pendragon, you can get Fireball, you get Arcane Blast, you can get a whole bunch of different cards off top of it, and cast them for free. This card's really, really strong. On top of it, it has the ability to then go up into other level 3, which is Shadow Dancer. If you're playing something like Water Allies, pairing this card with, you're now running 2 level 3s that you can pair into each other. Get total 16 damage onto Scepter Lumina. This card is really, really strong. I'm really excited for this. I think this is probably going to be a super strong recollection deck and the deck as a whole. Talk about briefly, we have Cell Assembler, Manufacturer Cell, and Power Cell. So pretty much these are a couple cards that make you Power Cell. I have 2 cards that make you Power Cells. These pretty much buff your automatons, give them +2 attack on a turn. And pretty much they're trying to lean more into MRC with the automaton sort of game plan. If you want to go tribal, which is pretty much saying automaton, ally, beast only type cards in your deck, you can go ahead and play the automaton tribal list, and you have cards that buff it. So if you want to go down the game plan, you can use cards like Claude, or you can sit there and use, I think, Gemini as well. You get this couple of cards of combo Carter. There's cards that really work well with automaton, so this is playing more into that more theme of the set. Then going back into our automatons, we have Cell Handler, which is an on-enter target animal or beast ally trying to uses Pride. It gives you, so if you have something like a bear or a lynx or something like Venitas, not Venitas, Ventus? The Terra card. I can't think of the name, the Sinks. Pretty much gives them loses Pride and gets -1 attack on a turn, so you can use that card as it comes in, buff your board, and then be able to combo into that and then be able to attack when turn comes in. Not having to worry about the Pride 10 or I think, Pride 10 class requirement on the card. You have Priestess of Flame, which was just spoiled recently. This is just an on-enter, deal 3 to a champion. If you do, gather twice. I'm not too big of a fan of it. I'm just going to skip it. Surging Bolt is a really cool card. Imbue 3, which is a new mechanic coming into MRC. Imbue is a card you reveal all the cards revealed. You may reserve all the cards revealed as you activate this card. Nope, this does not trigger Luxem abilities because you're just, instead of playing the card face down, you play it face up. And then if you do 3 of them, if 3 of them are fire cards, this card becomes imbued, and this card is imbued. It does extra mechanics. Other games have similar mechanics as well that gives a couple abilities if you pay the extra cost. In this case, it deals 3 to target champion. If it was imbued, it deals 4 instead. Really, really cool card. I really like the art. Baltai Fusler, not a fan of this card. It's a 1-drop, deal 4 to yourself, 3 attack. Garbage. We go into Stealth Sharpshooter, range 2. As long as this card enters, you may banish the card flowing memory from graveyard. If you do, summon a Power Cell token rested. To me, this feels like a worse Frostborn Paladin. I'm not sure why too much you run this unless you're really going hard into the automaton game plan. But you get to draw a card. It doesn't buff it though. So comes 1/3, but you get the Power Cell, and the Power Cell does come in rested, so you can't use it until your next turn. So you're a little bit losing value in that case. Then we have Fractal Rain. Fractal Train is an imbued 2, as talked about before. Beginning of our question phase, if Fractal Rain is imbued, target player puts soft card of the deck into their graveyard. It's reservable Fractal, and it's going into that mill mechanic. Also revealed recently, we have the Icebound Slam. Class card, -2 cost to activate. On attack, may put up 5 cards deck in your graveyard. If there are 5 or more water elements going to graveyard, it gets +5 attack, going up to 8. The 5 cost. I'm not sure how well it's going to be played. It is an SR. No. It can be really strong if you're playing maybe something to the Nico list, probably. As you're milling more cards, you want more cards into it, you get more swings. Might be another way for Nico to go ahead and close the game. So those Nico fans, keep an eye on this card. Probably pick up a playset if you're just picking up singles. Lost in Thought, our first X cost card in the game. Lost in Thought is a mage action card, though. Banish up the X card floating memory from your graveyard. Draw a card for each card banished away. It's a good way to, if you're really playing into something like Nico or something of the sort, it's not a class bonus, so you're going to use it. Banish more cards from your graveyard and get to draw more off top to really try and filter out through that win con, not relying on top decks to get you through that. Pretty much through it all. We have Naya, Diviner Fortunes. Amazing art. I'm really happy for this. This is probably like one of my favorite art cards in all of Grand Archive so far. Class bonus for Mage. On enter, reveal top card of your deck. Banish one of those cards, put the rest in their graveyard. Banish card a spell card, and activate on Jaconia. Not too sure what shell this is fitting in yet. It is a mage class mode, so only Merlin or Rye can run it. I'm not sure how much Water Rye is going to come into play. We'll have to see more spoilers later on. But I think if you're running the Water Merlin list, you can use this a little bit more thoughtfully, because you can use something like Incarnate Magistrate. You can get Incarnate Magistrate off of the cards that is banished. You don't have to worry about it as long as the card as long as you control the card. But do note though, you have to have this card on the field in order to get the cast. So if this card does die, good luck casting the Incarnate Magistrate. Plus Scourgy, an amazing win card, is a card that has Imbue 2 on enter. If it's imbued, target player has more than 2 cards, can't play any more cards during the next turn. Really good card on the ally. Win's getting a lot of good control pieces set so far, and we're going into a couple more a little bit in a second here. Charge Assailant, another card onto you. If you control a power cell, going back into ally automaton list, you get Agility 3. Agility 3 is the secondary new mechanic, where return 3 cards from your memory to your hand to begin the next end phase. So this card will pay for itself and then gets to recoup the cost as long as you have the assassin, as well as you have a power cell as well. So being able to pay for a card for free, 2/2, it does not have stealth though, so do keep that in mind. Legend Union, pretty much an anti-erupting tech or anti-fire Lorraine tech. It's a card that has imbue 2. Target player banishes 3 cards from the graveyard. You get this banish 3, but if you imbue it, they get to banish 6 cards instead. The opponent does get to choose it, so do be a little careful on your use case. But it's really strong, probably going into every single sideboard list going forward with Wind, especially now with the new 15 card sideboard increase. That pretty much every list is going to want to run this if you're running Wind element. Favorable Winds, as we talked about before, we already know that card. We have a little Vanitas action. I'm really liking it. I think it's our first CSR that is not on a champion or an ally. Not counting CPRs, of course. So Vanitas level 2, this card gets so much activate, so it could be a 2 cost. It is fast speed, but next time you take 4 less combat damage this turn, prevent it, and your champion's first attack without a weapon during your next turn gains plus X, where X is the amount of damage prevented this way. So Vanitas going to get an extra advantage. If you get in, say, with a Pendragon, you negate 3. Your Vanitas attack going and gets 3 more attack. First Astro card spoiler of the set, we have the Foretold Bloom. Foretold Bloom is on until end of turn. Herbs control gain on sacrifice glimpse 2. Good way to sort of help the herbs that get a little more value. Again, you have to be Astra though, which is a little bit hard, especially for Ari right now. There's not too much in the top end of Astra, and your top end of the deck is a little bit tight. Neos gets a new card. You have a 7-cost Blade of Creation. On the cost is activate 1 less, activate each token you control. Cleave. So Neos does get a Cleave. I'm not sure. We'll see how it comes into play. You do have to use it later on. You could use it where they say Genesis of Aegis Tony, as you go ahead and pay the card, stack a bunch of swords and get a huge cleave and not have to worry about stealth. It does get you around those stealth mechanics, and stealth sort of prevent combats as a whole. So keep this in mind if you're going ahead and build to the Fire Jimmy Lee Tony Domain list, that you probably want to throw this card into those lists going forward if you want to continue with that type of game plan. Sponge, Claire card, Curse card, additional activates this card, discard a curse from your champion's lineage, deal X to all units with extra reserve cost of the card. This is really playing more into the Diana Cursebreaker line. Not too many people running it just yet, because at this rate, you're only really getting a Creeping Torment, which only doing 1 damage to everything. It's not too much value, but could be seeing play later on. Windmill Engineer. When Engineer goes ahead, another card with the R imbue 2 mechanic. If it is imbued, you draw a card in the memory. Not bad, but it's a 2-drop on 1. Sort of hurts. We have the new Tristan. New Tristan is awesome. Comes in, gain a preparation counter if you want it. If you don't, you get Agility 3. Get the recoup the hand. I think this card is going to be played more into the Water Ally list going forward. Water Allies is going to be replacing Xander with Tristan, because of the fact you get to go ahead and play your Gildas, play something like your Frostmourne Paladin, get to play your Lurking Assailant, and then recoup all those cards back in your hand so you have more answered in case there's a Viridian Protective Trinket or something that comes out in play. And then you can still have Frostbind and a couple other interactions up in your hand if you use the Agility 3. But do note, if you're not getting the preparation counter, you might hurt you a little bit later into the later games of Tristan, as we're going to see here shortly. In the later games of Tristan, we do have level 2, which you have 2 more preparation counters on, or you get to draw a card. It is lineage, just so you know. It is not a lineage break Tristan. So if you have 2 more preparation counters, draw a card on enter. If you have 4 more preparation counters out this way, draw an additional card. So it's sort of this level 2 Tristan really want more preparation counters on your Tristan. So you have to be sort of more utilization of when you want to use the Tristan level 1 ability to either get Agility 3 or get the preparation counter. There are some cards that have been announced as well. We have cards in FTC that give you some sort of passive preparation counter gains. So you probably want to throw these into these deck builds. Tristan level 3, we have the Shadow Dancer that we're going to pull up the CSR. Tristan Shadow Dancer comes in on enter, summons 2 Ominous Shadow tokens. We're going to go over that a little bit later. It's a little bit further on down. Then you get a preparation counter on Tristan. And then if you remove 2 preparation counters, change target of an attack that targets Tristan to a Fantasia ally you control, which Fantasia ally will be these Ominous Shadow tokens that we're going to go over shortly. So it's a really interesting mechanic. Not as good, I think, as the other Tristan, but since you get to go side-by-side leveling, this is probably what the Water Ally list is going to be doing. So we do have Gear Strike Gloves. Gear Strike Gloves get put a preparation counter on your champion. You can banish it, and the next reaction card you activate costs 1 less. Does put a preparation count, which is great, but it's not as good as the boots that I originally got with wind that puts a preparation count at the end of each turn as long as your champion is untapped. Like Anthem, this card's pretty dope. This card goes in, you swap the cards from your opponent's memory in hand. It doesn't reveal them, it just fall and swaps, which is really cool. Especially facing versus Luxem decks, this card will make your Luxem opponent really have to determine what cards they want to put down and when they want to put them down. As you hit with this, your opponent, if you're Luxem player, gets to take their 4 cards, put it in their hand, put the rest down into your hand as a whole. It doesn't matter how many cards you have, it just has a full-on swap. So just swap the cards in your hand in memory. So if your opponent has 1 card or no cards, they do get to recoup all their cards though from their memory. So do keep that in mind because it is a meta ability as well. So think you can say no if you choose to. It is not a force trigger. People are coding on target champion. Up to 3 target units you control gain on hit on preparation counter on champion gains a turn. So it's really good if you're going a little bit ally heavy with the list. You go ahead and play this card. Get to banish it. Choose your allies. They hit to your opponent champion. Get 3 preparation counters on your Tristan that you get to see come up here in a second. A little bit otherwise why that comes into play. But pretty much it's trying to come up with ways so you can get preparation counters as we are a little bit lacking right now. Incapacity. It's our negate and assassin. All there is to it. Card's super good. I think other lists will be running this. Make sure if you get a playset, if you're able to, negate target action card activation is really good, especially for 4 costs. If you're assassin, it being 2, it's really utilization. So I think most lists might be running this, if not in a sideboard mechanic now, because for 4 and negate, a flat negate is really, really good for 4. Mastermind Scheme. This card is officially class bonus, but then gets to double the preparation counters on your champion. If you have 8 or more, you go ahead and gain agility 3 times a turn. This is where it comes in later on, where if you want to gain preparation counters, I find it better for later on in the game more than early on because it's going to be a little hard paying 5 or 4 to get the double counters. Especially if you're level 1, you want to pay this. You're really going from 1 to 2. It's not getting a lot of utilization out of Mastermind Scheme, but it could come in the later play if you're level 3 Tristan and you really start doubling for some other cards that need it going later into the game. Superwoman, pretty much just a +1 attack, so 2/1 automaton for floating memory. Stifling Trap, really, really good card. It's deal 2 damage to target ally, then negate all enter uninterrupted from the ally. So if you say there's a dungeon guide coming in, you can go ahead and pay 2. If you're, I think, people run this, you're not assassin. If you are assassin, you may remove 2 preparation counters to your champion, and then you can pay it, and then deal 2 to a dungeon guide, prevent unenter from dungeon guide. So there's a lot of different cards that I think Stifling Trap is going to come into play against. Again, this is going to be pretty much this, and the other card we talked about before is going to be pretty much thrown in the all sideboard list of wind. It's going to be a meta call if you want to run it into the main deck, but I think it's going to be pretty much a key staple that most people will want to run. Surveil the Winds. Assassin skill, fast activation, so 2 drop fast activation if you want to, if you're an assassin. Draw a card, then put a preparation counter on champion. Pretty good, replace itself end of turn, get a preparation counter so you can sort of stack up to your level 2, level 3 a little bit better if you want to. Or if you're doing end of turn of your opponent's turn, you're level 1, do it, get a preparation counter onto your Tristan, go to Tristan, get 2 preparation counter if you decide to get it on the original level 1 on enter, and then you get to use the level 2 Tristan's on enter ability for having 2 preparation counters. Stormstar Headhunter. Stealth, ally on hit, pretty much gains the death touch mechanic. Death touch, the way it works is that if you deal damage to an ally, it then kills it flat out. In this case, they're doing the cost addition on top. So pretty much you attack something, say Incarnate Magistry. If they don't have 3 to pay for it, the show you hit out unless the control pays 3. You have ways to get around Incarnate Magistry at this point. You have ways to deal with the Pendragon and a couple others. Grim Foreboding. Summon an Ominous Shadow token. That's 2 more cards after this. We'll show you what those are. Fantasia allies are going to get +1 to end the turn. You gain agility 3 for this turn for fast speed. So we'll show you, I'll go a little bit more into this card and why it's good in a minute. Haunting Demise is pretty good on champion hit. Demise for the champion by lineage. So on flat out, it does 3 attack on its own. If you have the class bonus, it does 4, 5, 6. This card really starts racking up and really forces your opponent to go ahead and close the game out quicker than they maybe want to. It's really punishing the slower control decks if they don't have a way to deal with curses. So being able to play Tristan and then deal pretty much damage consistently every single turn could really, really matters and really does stack up really quickly. So Ominous Shadow. Ominous Shadow is our Fantasia allies that gain unblockable, which means they cannot be blocked. So no intercept and no taunt. They ignore taunt. If damage is dealt to it, prevent 3 damage to it. It is a 1/4. And then Ominous Shadow may only declare attacks against your champion, against units your champion attacks. So if your champion attacks another champion, then Ominous Shadow can attack champions. If your champion attacks an ally, your Ominous Shadow can only attack that ally. So do keep that in mind. But do note though, this says only attacks. You can retaliate still with Ominous Shadow. So if someone goes and use a cleave effect like Flame Sweep or a couple of other cards, you can say Grim Foreboding your allies. And then on top of that, gaining your Ominous Shadow gains an extra attack. So there will be 2 4s. And then you can then retaliate for multiple damage because it is noting only attacks and retaliates are legal. Going down into Shadow Strike, it's a Prepare X, another one of our X cost cards. Prepare, the X cannot be 0. So you prepare for this card, it go ahead and gain that much more damage. So if you prepare 1, and now deals 5 versus the 4 base cost, etc., etc., etc. And then it goes and gains unblockable. Really, really good attack card. Like I said, I think this Recollection deck is really, really hitting where it needs to hit right now, and it's been really good. Just Mirage and the new cards forward recently. Class 1 is cost 1 less activate, so it is a 2 cost if you're an assassin, which at this point, very good. Champion gains stealth and turn unless your opponents pay 2. Tristan bonus summon Ominous Shadow. I'm not sure much more like this over Vanish the Sight. I'd rather just run Vanish the Sight. Granted, it's 2 costs versus 3 costs. You can activate any turn. But the problem is your champion gains stealth on turn, and your opponent does have to pay 2, so they can't ignore the stealth if they want to. If they're trying to get with a big swing. So it really is more of a gotcha punish if your opponent does the top out for a big swing, and then you can play it versus having to do it later and making doing it earlier with Vanish the Sight and having your opponent maybe rethink their turn because of it. So I'm not sold fully on this card. I think it's alright, but I personally like Vanish the Sight more. Spirit of Slime. Spirit of Slime is on it, draw some cards. Ignore element requirements. Our basic element slime cards you activate. We'll see a couple of slime cards later on and what you can use this with. We have Sylvie 1, Sylvie 2. The new Sylvie 3 with Slime Sovereign. On next time an ally card you activate, next slime ally, sorry, activate. So cost 2 less to activate and enters the field with 2 additional buff counter on it. So you get to ignore it. You can ignore an elemental requirements of advanced element slime cards you have. With solos later as well, why this comes in, and then you get 2 buff counters onto your slimes. T-Size Pudding comes in, telling to turn. When you banish it, slime enters in the field and control, gain an additional buff counter. So you have 2 buffs. If you're level 3, now gets 3 buffs. Slime Nexus is a card that next slime ally card you cast this turn, costs 2 ways to activate, and pretty much you get free slimes. Force Cake, unenter draw card, pretty good card as a toll. Problem is, whenever an ally beats control into the field under your control, you may put a stack of Force Cake to put a buff counter on that ally. So I'm not sure how many decks are running allies and beasts right now normally outside of Sylvie. So I'm not sure how many lists might be running this in sort of other ways. But Force Cake could come into play later on. It's a pretty good card on enter draw 2. It does replace itself. Here's the slimes. So new slimes. So right here, class bonus on attack for Fire Slime. You can run this at any point if you're Spirit of Slime, no matter what you're doing. On attack, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card in the memory. If the discard is a Fire Element card, Baby Red Slime gets +1 attack to end a turn. So it becomes a 3-1 if you want to on the attack trigger. And then it's pretty much easy to die because it's a 2-1 and it is a baby slime. Baby Blue Slime, which are 1/2s. Class bonus gets another +1 health, so it does be a 1/3 if your class bonus. Then prevent next damage will be dealt to another target slime you control. So you just pretty much saying, hey, I want to keep my Baby Red Slime alive. I go ahead and tap this card. Prevent 2 damage on the Baby Red Slime. It can stay alive if the attack is only for, say, 2. Gather Slime. So this is where Lost Slime Spirit comes into play. Because this is a Tamer Slime skill, you can use this card while being a base element. It ignores the basic element requirement cost. Class bonus fact activation uses as fast. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Recover X, where X is the amount of slime ally cards revealed this way. Put a slime ally card from among them into your hand, and the rest of them in your deck in any order. So this is pretty much the card that pretty much is utilizing the fact that you're going to go ahead and be Tamer tribal slimes and run a completely dedicated slime list. So then you get to go ahead and reveal, put a slime ally card mum, and then the rest in your bottom of your hand. Then you get to recover at fast speed for 2 costs. It's pretty good if you decide to go the full tribal route. This does work because it doesn't work with other Tamer slime skills because the fact that it's only for slime allies. Baby Green Slime, fast activation card on a suppressed target item or weapon you control. So, interesting, and I will note this because I was getting hammered by my teammate Bright the entire time about this. If you are level 1 Sylvie, in response to level 2 Sylvie card activation, you can then fast activate your Baby Green Slime with level 2 Sylvie on the stack, so it comes in suppressing a Regalia, and then you get to get the buff counter as well as get the level 2 on enter for having maybe an animal and beast, depending on the way of your board state. So note you can use this fast activation, so it might be a little bit of a cute little mechanic you might be able to get into certain abilities. Slime Blessing, another slime skill at this point. You can use it if you are a Lost Slime Spirit. Cost 1 to activate. It is a 2 cost. Choose up to 3 units. Put a level counter on each of those. Put a level counter on each chosen champion, and a buff counter on each chosen slime ally. So you can choose you and your opponent for some reason getting a level counter, or you just choose yourself once, and then you choose your 2 other allies to get buff counter. I'm willing to see how this comes into play. I don't know if there's anything yet that really requires you giving your opponent level up counters, but you never know. It could really mess up. Oh, actually, as I'm thinking about this, so if your opponent is going to play Merlin, and they're more in odd counter right now, say they're level 3 Merlin with 1 level counter, you can then use Slime Blessing the game in their even counter level. So then they don't get to draw because it's a recollection. So the next recollection, they skip 2 and go straight to 3. So you can turn down a draw from your opponent if you want to on the Merlins. So keep that in mind. I'm really interested to see if that comes into play during the season. Stormside, we have our Arcane. This is what level 3 Sylvie is used for. Pride 3 unentered as a spell. So as a spell, deal damage to target unit equal to the number of slime cards in your banishment. So if you banish a lot of slimes, it deals damage equal to the amount of it, and it counts that ability as a spell. So it does not work if a spell shroud. Pretty sure. I double check that. Cosmos on death. You may banish 2 cards at random from your memory. If you do, draw 2 cards. So it does have an on death ability where you get to banish 2, draw 2. Banishing slimes get to sort of recuperate itself. You have Ethereal Slime. Man, this card's nuts. Crux is going to probably run this card as its own. It's a Pride 3, Stealth, and True Sight 2/2. That is a class bonus though, so you don't get this for it, but Tamer does. On enter, you may banish a Tamer card from your material deck. If you do, draw a card and put a buff counter on it. Not bad. Level 5, though, prevent all non-combat damage dealt to Ethereal Slime. So it could be technically a worse intangible Geist, but I think this card's not bad. The fact that it's Stealth and True Sight as well makes it hard to deal with for most decks, and I think probably Merlin is going to be running this list as this card as a whole. Lustrous Slime, Luxem Slime, Pride 5 Taunt. So it comes in 1/5 Taunter. On enter, reveal any amount of slime cards from your memory. For each card revealed this way, put a buff counter on a slime. So you get to grow this card based on the amount of slimes you have in your memory. On death, recover X, or X is the amount of buff counters that are on Lustrous Slime. So this card gets to prevent a lot of damage because you get it taunting. And then you go ahead and on death, you get to go ahead. No, it's not on leave. It is on death. So you can't flicker it and get the ability. It is on specific death. You then get to heal that amount of damage. Buff counters, I should say. Then Verdant Slime, the Tarot card, of course, which is natural. Pride 5, class bonus, does have taunt as a 2/2 taunter. Destroy up to 1 target with Gallery, memory cost 0. If you don't, do buff counters on it. So you can deal Nullifying Lantern. If you don't want to kill Nullifying Lantern, gain 2 buff counters on it. And that's sort of where we're at. But like I said, was sort of a longer video than I planned, where we did go over like every single card. Sorry about that. Did break down a couple of cards, a couple of thoughts and ideas. But like I said, keep an eye out on the website, as we talked at the beginning of the video, gabrary.net. This is the website I run. This is the main source for spoilers that will go up as soon as I pretty much see the spoiler and I get the HD card images and I upload them. So make sure you check this website out. Keep an eye on it. Link will be in the description for that. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to go over each spoiler as they're sort of revealed. And keep in mind, we do about a week away from Worlds. So keep an eye out. I might be doing something during the World season. I might be making sort of meta breakdown videos on sort of going to the matches, maybe my own commentary, maybe a co-stream. We'll figure that out as we go. But thank you again, everyone, for watching the video. Hope to see you on the next one. Peace.